All right, Miles, let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons here for a little bit. This is a team under Terry Fontenot as a general manager, and of course, Arthur Smith as the head coach. They've had one heck of an offseason. I think they've knocked it out of the park in the draft. They knocked it out of the park during the free agency period. This is a team that did a lot of great moves, but we're starting to see this team come together now in mini camps and OTAs. And there's one Atlanta Falcon in particular that looks primed to be a breakout superstar. And I really like what this guy's going to do for the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people are starting to recognize how special this guy can be.
Yeah, Nick, I think this story is going to be excellent. I'm glad you found it because Falcons fans are going to love this one. But I want to ask the Falcons fans in the comments below today. We have a really great question for you. Who is your favorite Falcons wide receiver in NFL history? But the one caveat here, we're not going to make it easy for you. Can't be Julio Jones. So let us know who is your favorite Falcons wide receiver in NFL history in the comments below, and make sure to stay tuned to end this video to hear a word from our partner, and that is Neuro. They have a lot of great products, give you a quick and easy boost of energy, maybe even give you that Julio Jones laser-like focus. We like to take it right before our show. We take their mints or gums to give us that focus, give you the great Falcons content you love. So make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video to hear more about Neuro and their products and to get your hands on our discount code. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get on to the story. Who is looking good for the Falcons?
Yeah, so at this point in the season, as we get into the offseason, I should say, we're starting to see what the Atlanta Falcons are going to look like. Of course, we're seeing the rookies and the veterans, compete together on the practice field at OTAs. And based on what's going on in OTAs, and of course, based on what happened last season, there's one player for the Atlanta Falcons that the experts at PFF, at Pro Football Focus, who we value their opinions extremely highly, believe is poised to break out and become a dominant superstar going into 2023. Miles, if you want to throw up the report, PFF found it, but it was reported to us by USA Today. I'll go ahead and read from it. And the guy that this is involved, the report is talking about, is none other than second-year wide receiver Drake London. Directly from the report itself, with all the praise and accolades going to the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson, London was actually the first receiver off the board in 2022 when the Falcons made him the 8th overall pick. Despite a very run-heavy system in Atlanta, London got off to a hot start in 2022, going for over 70 yards in his first 2 games, but he eventually hit a mid-year slump. As previously mentioned, this was in large part due to the offense being inefficient and one-dimensional. However, things picked up for London when Desmond Ridder replaced Mariota as the team's starting quarterback for the final 4 weeks of the season. With Kyle Pitts sidelined due to a knee injury, Ridder went on to develop good chemistry with London. London still put together a very strong rookie year, catching 72 passes for 866 yards and 4 touchdowns to go along with an 85.3 receiving grade. Again, just to reiterate, we talk about this all the time with PFF. Anything in the high 60s and 70s is a really good player. It's a solid player. When you get to the low 80s, that's like a star player. 85 to 90 is like superstar, all-pro level stuff. And when you get into the 90s, you're dealing with Hall of Fame. Aaron Donald's in the 90s, as an example. So creating out an 85.3 is absolutely outstanding. London is expected to be the number 1 receiver in Atlanta, and with the lack of other receiving threats around him, expect Desmond Ridder to go to him early and often in 2023. All right, here's my opinion on Drake London. This is a guy who I think is the answer. He is the counterpoint to where wide receivers and DBs have been going over the past 5-6 years. We saw it with the breakout with the Patrick Mahomes Kansas City Chiefs a few years ago. People started looking at speed. They love Tyreek Hill. They love Mecole Hardman. They love the guys who are very fast and can run. Jamar Chase, for example, is a very high draft pick. Even Jefferson for the Minnesota Vikings is not a big guy. He's not a physical, imposing presence. That's where wide receivers have gone and cornerbacks have gone in that direction to counter those guys as well. Drake London, to me, is the opposite. He's more, I say old school. It just seems not that old school to me. He's more the Randy Moss, Terrell Owens era wide receiver. Big, physical, strong, great catch radius, can run, can physically dominate secondaries. And I look for this guy, London, to be that kind of dominating force. He has that kind of potential. We saw it last season, and like the article mentioned, this was an offense that at times had a lot of issues developing any sort of rhythm throwing the football, but London was still very productive, graded out very well. This guy, London here, I think has a potential to follow in the Terrell Owens footsteps, the Randy Moss footsteps, guys who can physically dominate defensive backs, regardless of the coverage, regardless of the overall talent of the guy across from you. Because if you get a guy like a top flight corner covering a Jefferson or Jamar Chase, they can negate him, like Marcus Lattimore for the Saints is a good example of that. They can negate him and slow him down. A guy as big and as strong as London, it doesn't matter how good the corner is across. He can physically dominate him because he's just bigger and stronger. I'm looking for London to have a massive year for the Atlanta Falcons. Miles, I'm really high on this kid. Give me your thoughts on London and everything with the Atlanta Falcons right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think London is very special. Like you said, he's got a rare blend of size and speed, but he's mainly got the size there, Nick. He's 6'4", 6'5", around that 220 range. they, like you said, the receivers aren't that big
He's
anymore.
thick, right? He
Yeah,
just looks thick.
he looks like a man out there amongst boys. You look at Drake London next to Justin Jefferson, you're not going to think so much of Justin Jefferson. No slight to him. He is an excellent wide receiver, but his size is a little bit lacking. When you look at Drake London, that is never going to be the question. And I love that about a guy. It tells me a couple things. He's probably a little bit more durable. He can go up for those contested catches, and you don't have to worry about him. He can bang around with a safety or a corner. And, this is a guy, you're not going to be able to jam him off the line that easily because he probably runs straight through you with all of that size. And he's showed this. He's been a contested catch monster. He's breaking tackles. He looks really, really good on the field. And Nick, I love what they say. They said he had a good rookie season. I think he had a great rookie season with everything considering. He had to deal with Marcus Mariota for the first half of the season. A very, very weak, not dynamic at all, run-first offense, which I think now, you look who's around him now. Kyle Pitts is back and healthy. Bijan Robinson is in the backfield. This team is going to be insane, Nick. I think that Drake London's really going to be able to open up. Because as good as I think Tyler Algier was last year, Bijan Robinson's literally a whole nother level. If Drake London is the big, thick wide receiver that we were talking about that's old school, Bijan Robinson is that running back because he has size of his own. He's going to be able to break this offense open. So I think that Drake London perfectly is primed for a year 2 breakout, and I think he's going to be phenomenal this coming season.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.